You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be afraid. It's the Legion After Show. We are talking the season finale.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello and welcome to the Legion After Show.
Where's our song?
Where's our song?
There we go.
Yes! Wait for it
It's
to
the
kick
Legion
in.
After Show. It's the season finale of Legion. That's right, season 1, episode 8, chapter 8. I'm your host, Yael Tygiel. I'm joined by a lovely panel. We're all here for the finale.
That's right.
Why don't you introduce yourselves?
Oh, we gonna go with me?
Yeah.
Hey, it's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you. With a hot beat, step 2. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chaos J back for the finale. I was granted access, and I am here. Let's go.
Woo! What's up, guys? My name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. And quick shout out to Espionage Cosmetics. These are for science nail wraps.
Any
Go
discount?
check out my photos. No, not this time. But if you do go to my Instagram and Twitter, I do have discounts for other stuff too. So
Boom.
just saying.
Yeah.
And
Deals
I'm a
on
children
deals on
of the
deals.
revolution. And you can find me at Rick Hong, RICKHONG, on all social media.
Welcome. It's the finale.
Yes.
So crazy. I can't believe we made it to the end of the first season. We started off so lost.
I mean, are we still lost?
We're still, there are parts where we go, what? But there are a lot of parts where we go, oh. I like the, oh.
I do want a
moments.
quick shout out, which if you guys are watching this live, we do have a live chat. Thank you so much for talking with us. And then if you're watching it later, comment down below. John Joe says, best after show on the block.
Woo.
Say what?
Oh, yes, that's right.
I just want
Thank
to
you.
clarify that is absolutely correct.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And since we're doing shout outs, I have to shout out the real Brad Man. He's
Yeah,
a Legion.
Rudy.
Exactly. Gotta shout him out. What's up? Thanks for watching, because he actually does watch.
I know. We had a great time talking about him and Mackenzie Gray and the whole, the amazing cast. What a great cast. So let's jump into this episode. We start with kind of checking out our D3 friend, Division 3 secret agent interrogator, who has a name.
Right?
Guys, his name is
Finally.
Clark. I spent like 2 hours trying to Google Clark X-Men and see if he is someone. And I'm going to let the fans take it from here because I could not find it.
Could he have been lying, though?
Yes, he could have been lying. That is very likely. But I want to throw it out there that if the fans have any information about who Clark may be, because I've been Googling for 2 hours and could not find anything. So taking it to the
And their
fans.
Google game is strong, guys.
Well, in a different universe. I mean, I know what the Clark stands for, but not in this one.
Different universe, and he is not welcome in this one. But we have this kind of backstory on Clark. We get to see how we got to this point where he found them. And I was reading an interview with the showrunner who was explaining that we wanted to give him kind of some sympathy, so we
Noah
understood.
Hawley, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was talking about this character and that he kind of is a person, and we forget that villains sometimes are people. What did you all think of this backstory about his husband and his kid?
I didn't care. I didn't really care about his backstory in the beginning, but later on, I did start actually, kind of rooting for him, and I was like, all right, man, great.
You
But
mean
that's
in
later.
the beginning of this episode you didn't care, or the beginning of the show?
The beginning of this episode, didn't care.
Really?
I love the actor. He's awesome. But
He
I
is
didn't.
awesome.
The
He
opening
is.
sequence was cool for sure. I love seeing it. But did I actually care about him? No.
I just think it gave him more depth before it was just like, I'm evil bad guy on a mission. And now we're like, oh, okay, you're a real person and you're still on a mission. But, he's more well-rounded that we're like, oh, okay, I get you.
Right. He was definitely fleshed out in this episode. And I was kind of indifferent. I'm kind of with you. I didn't necessarily not care, so to speak. But it was like, take it or leave it. But I do like that we got to see a different side. We got to see a little bit of backstory about him. So I guess I kind of care. But I really didn't. It was one of those things if they wouldn't have put it in the episode, okay, cool. He'd just shown up with a burnt up face. And I'm like, oh, cool, your face is burnt up. However,
You look half Freddy Krueger.
right. However, I always find it funny how you see, not just in this show, but in movies and other shows, where the bad guy does something to the good guy, unprovoked. They're just doing it because they're the bad guy, and then when the good guy prevails and they get jacked up in the process, it's, I want revenge. I'm mad. And it's like, well, you can't really be that mad because you started it. It's like
Yeah,
if
that's
I
the way I
walk
look
up,
at it. Yeah.
it's like if I walk up to you and I punch you in the face, and then you drop kick me, and then I end up going home with a broken arm. Can I really be mad at you because I started it? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like those people that break into someone's house to rob them and then get hurt and then
And they
sue the
sue.
person.
Yeah, you're like, no.
So I
Yeah.
really like your analogy, and that's a really good point. But I did like this backstory. I think it was surprising to me that this backstory happened in the season finale when we have so much more important stuff to check out.
Right, true.
But it was when he came back, and it did make sense for the story. I really liked learning that he had a family and seeing him at Division 3, learning that they are part of the actual government, that they do work within the confines of the government. They're not a secret, the government unsanctioned group. They are part of it, and that he was given desk duty, and he was like, "That's fine, I totally get it."
I'll take my
Yeah.
desk to go.
Yeah,
Yeah, it has to be
Yeah.
local.
Right?
Yeah, give me a pocket-sized one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was such a cool scene.
What a boss.
Just to hear that dialogue, and he was just telling her like, yeah, this is how this is gonna go, and then I love that.
Yeah,
When someone gets red, I love it.
it really made him, I think, a stronger villain.
Yes.
Because until this point, he's been just like a guy in a suit, and he has people above him who are kind of evil, and it made him like determined and stronger. And I think that was really interesting. By the end of this episode, though, I wasn't sure that he is a villain.
See, that's what I was saying.
No, especially by the end too, because
Right.
David has a moment like, we're done, and he's like, we need to work together, and he's like,
I'll
Clark's
talk to
like,
them.
yes, this is happening.
Um,
He's a smart bad guy. He's not just like dumb
Yes.
of. Well, smart in terms of recognizing they need to work together,
Well,
you know,
he
to
says-
fight
and
the
then
bigger bad guy.
he says, I know, I'll talk to them.
Yeah.
So it's not just, yes, we do. It's, let me see what I can do.
But then
Well, he probably would. He just
Right.
has to talk to his bosses.
'Cause
He's
he
not
was-
at the top of the
But
totem
then at
pole.
the same time, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you
No, no.
off. But I feel like the dynamic of him being considered a bad guy is changing.
Yeah.
Simply because, is he a bad guy because he wants to protect the security and the and the interest of the United States and the citizens and all that? Because ultimately, that's, even though they have a crazy, terrible way of doing it, that's ultimately what their objective is. And so it's one of those things that, yes, a lot of the things they're doing out of fear is harmful. However, they're doing it with the right intentions. It's just
No.
being
If you're
executed.
ready to kill all the other people because they're different from you or stronger than
But
you,
they're okay.
pretty sure you're the bad guy then.
But just like, okay, real quick, Batman versus Superman.
What?
I know. Just stay
Wrong
with me.
universe.
Stay with me.
Go on.
When they're having that conversation, not Batman versus, I'm sorry, Suicide Squad. When they're having that conversation, and this is right after Superman died, and they're saying, okay, what happens if we get another one, but he's not good? So there was that fear. And again, it's not right, but I'm saying that it just gives you a different perspective, because he's not doing this because he thinks he's not doing this just because he's an inherently bad guy.
no bad guy thinks they're the villain.
Well, right, but I'm just saying he's not doing it because he's just I'm evil and this is what I do. He's doing it because he has a family that he cares about, and that's the objective. So for me, I felt like it kind of put a different spin on it, and it was like, okay, so yeah, he's the bad guy, but he's not really the bad guy. He's just a misguided person.
So wait, to take this back to our universe of
I
the
mean,
X-Men,
we're already back there.
I want to point out that, like, if he were someone who said, maybe I think that humans and mutants can work together and live together, like, I don't know, some professor who runs an institute for gifted youngsters.
I heard he doesn't have hair either.
No, so he does not. But you're saying he's more like this other guy who thinks that one of these types of people, mutants or humans, mutants, are the evolution and are going to be the future, and therefore we don't need the others for our safety. Magneto, if you're not catching on. So I think that's what you're trying to say.
Right.
Less so people outside this universe.
Well, also
From
in
the
the
chat.
chat is brought up too, and it was that Division 3 has mutants on their working with them. Jay Becker says District 3 has mutants working with them, and so they're not trying to kill all mutants. So that's true, but it's the ones that don't work with them. Of like, you don't join us, we're gonna kill you all.
Well, I mean, it was to kill them all to get David.
Yeah,
kind
but
of.
even Sid, she's like, can't we just live and have a normal life? And he's like, no.
Make babies.
Well, but she did kind of open up the box a little bit to say, hey, he's a little bit a better understanding that David's dangerous because they fear the unknown, but now they know a little bit more to say, wait a minute, David's not in control of himself because of this thing.
Yes.
And she opened up that box to say, hey,
Absolutely.
here this is. So he's got a better understanding now.
Right. And I felt like you could kind of see that light bulb, just a glimmer, that light bulb go off when she explained that. Like, it's not even David.
Wait, which eye do you think the glimmer was? Was in the left?
I'm thinking it was the right eye.
I think it was
And
the
then
glimmer was
also-
the camera.
Good point brought up by I think it's Nebuchadnezzar. Sorry, there's a few
okay.
extra letters in there. Even David is not a good guy, and Ptolemy wants to kill everybody. So, and then good guy's probably just Carrie. So I say, but Carrie's the only one not. Well, and Sid's not trying to kill anybody.
Male Carrie and said, yeah.
Yeah.
Melanie's not trying to kill anybody.
And even female Carrie's not trying to kill anybody.
she just
wants to
enjoys-
fight.
Yeah,
She just likes to fight.
But she likes to fight.
I want to ask you this something because this really the suit thing because this really we have a disagreement here, and so I'm taking it to the chat as well as our panel. When Clark goes into the changing room to get dressed to go fight, and he puts on that suit, was that suit his or was that the Eye's suit? There was something about it and the cane with the little dog head or wolf head that made me think it was something to do with the Eye, especially I guess now that he has one eye. What did y'all think? Was the suit something related to our old friend, what was it, Walter? What was his name when we discovered he had a name?
Yes.
And it was Walter. Yeah.
Walter, yeah.
it was
Sure.
Walter.
I didn't think it till you said it, but I thought it was an interesting idea. But I don't know what that means. Then,
I don't either
if
know
it
what
is.
it means.
No, I think that was just like I'm
Yeah.
taking care of business suit.
That's
And so he's like put it on
It's
to
his
be
Men in
like
Black suit,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
it's maroon. He's a man in maroon.
Here you go.
All right, so anyone in the
Burgundy.
chat saw the same thing I did. What did you think when when Clark is being held captive, kind of, and the water was brought to him, and female Carrie points out that male Carrie should not hand it to him but put it down. Do you think that was just for like safety tactical reasons, or do you think there was more to it?
I actually thought that, dude, why are you taking a glass of bring him a plastic bottle because then he can't smack you in the face
Right.
with it so I thought it was actually a smart and kind of clever thing to put in there.
I thought there was more to it. I mean, I forgot that I'm like, oh wait, he's just a human. I almost thought in touching there would be an issue. But then I'm like, oh wait, he's just a human, so no. But yes, glass, it could be a weapon.
Right.
And yeah, it was interesting.
It was an interesting moment, and I wonder if it was more than just tactical reasons.
It's a exercise in power. Over both of them. You know?
Absolutely.
That's a good perspective.
Because
Yeah.
she tells both men
I agree
what
with
to
that,
do,
too.
and then they're like, okay.
Well, yeah, because she's
She's in
a
charge in that
boss.
room, yeah. She's like, I'm in charge.
so
Oh,
Yes.
Boiling in the chat room, Boiling Kool-Aid says isn't it an Easter egg to the comics and not about the eye?
the suit.
Referring to the suit, I think.
Is it? Tell
Thanks.
me.
Leave it in the comments,
Yeah.
and if you're live in the chat, let us know, because yeah, that's a good question. It was symbolic enough of something that
Right.
it wasn't just I just changed my clothes,
Right.
and even the cane felt important.
Yeah.
too.
I'm telling you, I tried to Google who he is and I can't figure it out. I'm so bummed.
No, it's like when superheroes put on their costumes and everything. There's always like that weird scene of them whoosh, you know, and doing whatever. So
Yeah.
I think that's just kind of like he's just ready to
Can
throw
I
it
get a
out.
replay of that one more time?
Yeah, do it again. Nice.
Thank you.
I like that.
That was money. That was money.
Well, Jeanette in the chat says because he's trained in hand-to-hand combat and would beat the shit out of Carrie.
Okay, great.
So yeah,
So, yes,
it's
it
a
was a
safety
tactical
concern.
reason, yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Makes sense.
Cool. That's actually very true.
Yes.
I wish that would have happened. I would have really enjoyed seeing that.
Well, then Carrie come to his defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of someone beating the crap out of male Carrie aside
Pretty sure
from
he
female
already
Carrie.
got hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
still,
I know,
he's
but I
still
forgot.
jacked up.
He's
I know.
fragile.
Yeah.
He's so fragile. So when we're first seeing the standoff in the woods, we have this great moment where David just like flings everybody.
He's all, nope.
Yeah, we had all predicted last week that David would release the Shadow King to save everyone, and we were way off
Yeah, totally.
in this episode. And I'm really glad we are.
Yes.
Because the way that this turned out, where, Sid tells him the power is real and you have to accept it. Don't save me or the world, but you got to save yourself. And we have this explanation of what's going on with the Shadow King and what we have to do. And Oliver is participating and his memories are coming back. It was just an amazing, the computer virus analogy was so good to
Smart. Yep.
to just explain that the Shadow King is trying to erase him. We all get it. We have computers. It was just a really great finale. What is the chat saying?
I'm looking at Seb Russ says, I love Melanie's speech, especially the fact that she said that humans used to be dinosaurs, but now if they want to survive, they have to accept becoming birds, the equals of mutants as mammals. And then somebody was saying that Jarvis was saying the eye was a wolf in sheep's clothing, and he was a shapeshifter, aka he's a shapeshifter.
Right.
So
Oh.
yeah, I feel that suit must mean. I know I'm like back to the suit.
Yeah,
Like,
you know.
now you make me think about it. Like no, because he
Right.
also had he had the replacement eye,
Right, which had
a
the
camera. How convenient.
we have that moment where Melanie is talking to Clark where we find his name and where he says Oliver Bird, who has been missing for 20 years and presumed dead, and she goes, oh, he'll turn up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it was so good.
She's like, yeah, it should be fine.
Especially because, not to jump way ahead, but right before
Oh.
the Shadow King takes him, he remembers her.
He's like Melanie. Two little things. One, people were liking the soup analogy, which I'm like, yes, that was great.
Yeah, it was
They're
really
getting
good.
a little bit ahead, but since you were talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
this, so
We're
Bookmark it.
jumping around, everyone.
David Linear said, I'm sad we never saw the Peacemaker. Who was that supposed to be? You had a thought on what the Peacemaker is or
No,
what?
I had a thought on the Equinox.
Oh, the Equinox.
Okay, so yeah, let's jump there.
Yes.
So D3 says, should we launch the Peacemaker? And then they say no. Also, I want to point out that Clark's husband was in that room. He works for
so
Division
would-
3.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize that was him. So
Yeah.
that was he the one
He's
standing?
the one standing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yes.
Who said no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which, who's higher ranked? That's what I want to know. But
That's
so, when they say launch the Peacemaker, and this is not the first time we have heard of this Peacemaker, whoever or whatever that may be. And then at the end, the last scene we see with Division 3, they say send the Equinox, which I am believing is from the post-credit scene. And I want to make sure everyone knows there was a post-credit scene.
Yeah, if you guys
Yeah,
didn't
if
know.
you didn't
it was
know
a
it.
long one.
You
Yeah,
need to go back and check that out.
absolutely. So we will spoil that if you stay here now. Pause, go watch it, come back. Because there are a lot of questions. So I was reading an interview with the showrunner, and he had said that he did the post-credit scene because he wanted to feel like he's part of the Marvel family.
Sure.
Which I think is
genius.
I think it's
Yeah,
great.
it's genius.
Of course, do it.
Yeah. I don't think I've
And,
ever seen that on a TV show, to be honest.
yeah.
During a finale?
Yeah, like a
I'm sure it's been done.
Not common.
Oh, I'm sure it's been done, but yeah, I've never
Not
seen the
common,
post
no,
credits.
He also said that, like, the idea behind David being taken is that the pressure is never off. That was
Right.
also
Yeah.
part of it. So, like,
Yeah. Right.
that they're not gonna have a moment.
I just thought it was weird though that they're like standing there like, oh, what's that little thing?
Right.
Like nobody's suspicious right now. I'd be like, don't let that thing scan you, touch
Right,
you,
like,
bump
I mean-
you.
I
Run
think,
away.
I think that was the Equinox.
Okay. I think that's a good thought.
Yeah.
Or it's going to whatever captured him is going
gonna
to take him
yeah.
The Equinox,
Yeah.
the Equinox.
Sure.
or the Peacemaker.
Or the Peacemaker.
Which then you brought up the point how it's like the drone in the expanse. You're like, what is that
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
Hey, you guys can watch us every Thursday.
tomorrow at 5.
Bad plug.
I'm going to take a moment. This seems like a good place because we still
Do
have so
it.
much to talk about. I want to thank everyone so much for sticking with us all season long. It's been an amazing season. It's only 8 episodes. Season 2, I believe I read, unconfirmed, but they are hoping to do 10 episodes next season.
That sounds right. That sounds right.
Yeah, so they're expanding to 10. But thank you all so much for joining us. I ask you every week to do a very simple thing. Go to iTunes, rate and review. If you like us, give us 5 stars. If you don't like us, you can give us 4 stars. And if you give us the 4 stars, I expect you to write something on iTunes so we can read what it is that you don't like. But stars 1 through 3, I tried them again this morning and they're still broken. iTunes needs to get on that.
Why would you be trying to do 3 stars on anything?
I know, it's rude.
Right.
But we have a lot of amazing reviews, and I just want to give some shout outs because usually I read all of them, but this show is so complex, we have more to talk about. So, Dr. Misher Woods is what I'm going to call you. I enjoy this podcast, 5 stars. Thank you. And Brave Little Toaster says, a great show with an awesome panel. Rico Suave one says, a trivia show that's a great ride, 5 stars. JJ4852 says thumbs up, fist pump, applause, 5 stars. The other stars don't work. Yeah, so we have a lot of great reviews, 5 stars. Thank you all so much. We really appreciate it. I promise next season to read them. So, on air, I mean. Okay.
Boiling Kool-Aid points out that Equinox is a character in Marvel, so we're going to hold you to that if that is true.
I love that handle, by
Awesome.
the way.
Thank you.
Boiling Kool-Aid.
Also, shout out to Amy, who could not stay up because it was the middle of the night for her. We get it. So, let's move on and talk a little bit about Lenny and Sid. This whole situation, right, where Lenny is chatting with Sid.
Oh, and like disgusting looking. I love
Yeah,
it.
Aubrey Plaza's like bringing her best Edward Scissorhands.
No,
Like,
Yes.
so you
Like-
guys
This
were,
was Beetlejuice
thank
this
you.
time.
Beetlejuice?
Yes, I absolutely do not remember Beetlejuice's festering.
Yeah.
I absolutely withdraw my previous statement.
The hair is.
No,
you
it's
know, the hair-
Beetlejuice.
The hair.
The
okay,
skin,
no, I'm with you. The hair, I was like Edward Scissorhands, but
That-
I see the festering and all
Beetlejuice
that.
is the black.
It was like a
And the, like-
mashup.
So basically, if Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands had a baby, it would be
Yes,
Aubrey
there
Plaza.
you go.
much.
Sure.
Yum.
I wouldn't say yum right there. 'Cause
Yeah.
She looked very nasty.
Aubrey
So, do we
Plaza.
think that she'll get an Emmy nomination for that role?
Wow, that's.
That's
I'd
kind
be
of.
She's been
impressed.
so good all season long.
She's been
This
amazing.
is true,
Well,
and they originally wrote that for a man,
Right.
and then they ended up giving it to her, and they were just going to change the dialogue so it was more geared towards a woman. And she said no, like I want to go ahead and tackle both.
Yeah,
So basically, best supporting actor, Aubrey Plaza.
love it.
Jay
Sorry,
Becker
sorry.
says, I love this idea. Jay Becker says, Halloween costume, Aubrey Plaza in the show.
Oh, so
Boom,
good.
Yes.
Right?
I know which one I'll do. So
Yes.
you know which one I'll do. Gotta learn those dance moves. So we have Lenny and Sid having this conversation in the White Room. And Lenny says to Sid, "You want me out of David? Fine, I'm out, but you have to help me get away." So upon first watch, I went, okay, so this is clearly Lenny trying to fight and
Sure.
argue. But then I was reading an article, and it was asking about the end of the scene, the end of the episode where Lenny is in the passenger seat with Oliver. And the question is Oliver working for the Shadow King, or is Oliver
prisoner.
now working with the Shadow King?
Or a prisoner.
Or a prisoner, but because Lenny's by his side and not in his brain.
No. When you saw it this way from the front, the passenger seat was empty. It was
Right.
only when we moved to the side that we actually see her, and she kind of appeared. So I didn't think she was actually physically next to him in the car.
It's like
It's just a mental
yeah, it's like
projection.
the
Okay.
scenes that
Like
we've
David
seen with
had.
yeah.
Okay. Interesting, because what Oliver says to Lenny is, where should we look first? Not where should we go? Where are we going? Where should we look first? Because as we recall, there was the very important
Yes.
question, of what did he do with it? We don't know what it is. Which was from last episode, I believe. So, my question is with Lenny telling Sid, you have to let me out, you have to help me get away. Was this Lenny's plan the whole time so that Sid would get the Shadow King out by taking swap and then doing the like mind hop?
I think the Shadow King was a little worried that, dude, I could be. So it's like I gotta, it's like anybody. You gotta fight for your life no matter what it is.
Yep.
And so that's the way that I viewed it more
It's
than
an extra plan.
All right, interesting.
It's. John Joe says, it was just for visual. Shadow King is definitely inside Oliver.
Okay. All right.
But we don't know how much the Shadow King's taken over him too, because
he's powerful.
Yeah.
Well, but he's also been, not in our realm for a while,
Right.
so I felt maybe he could be more easily persuaded that she could lean on him the way, because David was like, yeah, sure, let's do these things together way back when.
Right.
So, but that would be an interesting change if he actually is like, in cahoots with Shadow King.
I think it'd be an interesting way to go about it that they're working together. But I definitely think you're right, especially since Oliver spent so much time in the astral plane. I think it might be even easier for the Shadow King to just shove him back.
Yeah. Well, Dragon Artist Tom in the chat says Oliver's faced her before, hasn't he? He definitely knew that Lenny was too strong for him in the last episode.
Has he? I mean, we don't
maybe
know
in the
for
astral
a
plane,
fact.
maybe they didn't face each other, but they might have
or
knew where they were.
He is aware of him.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So he knows who Farouk is.
Yes.
So I love seeing Oliver helping Carrie set up the magnetic field to withdraw him. I really love Oliver, being part of the team again.
Yes.
Oh, it was so, I know what it was like 20 years ago.
We just love Jermaine Clement, though. He's
We
an awesome
do.
actor.
And singing.
Yes.
That was so yes. Right? Another show where they sang. This seems to be the singing week.
No, yeah.
Magicians had one last week. I think The Flash had one. There's been a lot of musicals.
Yeah.
Though it was small for his part. Some people I wanted more singing.
I was like, if I could rule the world.
Yes.
Oh, so good. So, yes. I saw you.
Quick question of
Sure.
somewhat. We've talked about this before on what powers Melanie has.
Okay.
Okay, you guys brought up she's
Telepathy.
Telepathy. Thank you.
Power
I was like, I
suggestion,
just read telepathy. I read something else, so I was like, wait. But in this episode, she tells David, "You go read his mind," and she doesn't do anything. So we've never actually really seen it besides the time that David talked to her. So then in this episode, when she's like, "You go read his mind," I was like, well, why isn't she doing it?
Yeah.
So then I doubt what her powers are.
At no point has it been confirmed that Melanie has any powers. In the scene that people keep referring back to, again, sorry to repeat ourselves again, David, who is a telepath, is hearing her and is speaking to her.
Yeah.
So the fact that he can hear her is because he is a telepath.
And then the only other thing too, which some of you pointed out in the comments, so good observation, is when she's watering the plants grow right away. There's that episode in the mines, but then that wasn't in reality, so I don't know if that actually
The one where
fits.
with the
They're
eyes
little
in the
tiny
back.
they're little tiny.
Yeah, but there was
plants
also
that pop-
a man in the bushes.
Yeah.
Wait, so she's like E.T.?
What about-
She can make plants
that
grow?
was in
What
the,
about,
that was
like,
in
the-
the,
Yeah, that was
the
in their minds.
powers-
it was in
But-
the astral plane.
But if that's what she's thinking that should happen when she does that, that could be a
The
representation
power
of
of suggestion.
Excuse me.
You think she has the power of suggestion?
Okay.
But it doesn't just, it's not just, hey, you should go jump
No,
off
no,
that
no.
bridge right
Right,
now.
right,
I think
right.
it's so much more than that, too, like you were saying with that whole plant scene where, it's like, okay, you need to grow.
Sure.
Boom.
I like that. I can believe that is a power because she's trying to get David to do things. She's trying to get other people to do things.
I will accept that if that can be confirmed.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
That's
So
interesting.
we have so many questions. We have the mind hop. Let's talk about Lenny's mind hop from Sid
That was very
to female
excellent.
Carrie, and then Clark jumps in, and then we have the greatest, the final what we've been waiting for, a comic booky fight.
Yes.
With the Shadow King and David and the big like explosion of their powers.
Sid David.
Yeah, it's the irresistible force meets the unstoppable or
I
whatever
thought it was
unmovable
Sid
object.
David at that point.
So let's talk about that because Sid switches places right when they kiss.
Yes.
So in Sid's body is David.
Yes.
No,
and
no,
the
no,
Shadow
no.
King.
No, the Shadow King.
Just
Da-
Shadow
David,
King.
Just
David's in his
Shadow
own
King
body.
swapped?
Right.
Yeah.
So I
Then where'd
think
She
go?
sucked him out. She
So-
sucked him out of there.
so
Right.
I think instead of her using her powers,
Yeah.
which is what we had assumed,
She just
because
pulled the...
the Shadow King just hopped over.
Oh.
And then he left her for female
Kari.
Okay.
And then Clark comes in, and then we have this great David Shadow King in female Kari.
Okay.
So
This
it's
one was
not
keeping up with all the hops.
Yeah, so it's not Sid David.
Because if you look at the eyes, you follow
Yes.
the eyes,
Right,
the
right.
eyes. So that's
We
like
followed
where.
the
But
Shadow
then that
King.
seemed like it wasn't so much Sid was able to use her powers too much, but took off the gloves and everything of touch.
Right.
But that seemed more like a mind hop than a swap.
I agree.
So I like that better because then I'm like, that makes more sense. Otherwise, I'm like, wait, then who was who?
The question is then why didn't she swap?
Maybe Shadow King can cancel out those powers?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it. And then because of this big fight, we end up with the Shadow King and Oliver. Let's see. We still don't know what the Shadow King's looking for. Yes.
Thank you so much for all your opinions in the chat. Pat Swayze says maybe she can sense mutants, like that's her power.
Oh, all right.
That-
Kind of like
sure. Yes.
Caliban.
Yes. And then David says Melanie doesn't have powers, in my opinion. So yeah.
I don't think she has powers either.
Jeanette says
She's the
maybe an
power of
empath
teamwork.
of some sort.
Yay
Yeah.
for teamwork.
Yes.
Teamwork.
Queen Emerald said maybe had powers, maybe something happened.
Also possible.
John Joe says Melanie's power is good intentions.
I really like these powers.
Not cruel intentions, John Joe.
Which I heard they're bringing back. I read that
The what?
somewhere.
No, it got canceled.
It got canceled.
Oh, like time after time.
Oh yeah, it got canceled.
All right.
I'm lead host on the Time After Time show.
Were.
We were.
Felt bad for you.
Well, we have like one more, so
Okay.
it's a current.
Back to Legion. So I want to talk a little bit about what we heard about season 2. Unless there was anything else you wanted to touch upon for season 1.
I just gotta say these last 2 episodes, just like I said the last time, it's like a clinic for directing. Last episode for sure. If you are an aspiring director, watch episode 7. Because if you can't do that, then you better rethink how you do stuff. Even this episode's clever. Just the way that how they did the reference. Like I was confused for a second when you see like the big blast and Jermaine Clement, is in that room and you see the lights just underneath the door and you see the lighting, the way they did everything, and then he comes out and he's all like,
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, which guy is it? Is it Oliver or
right.
is it the Shadow King?
And they deliberately did not show us his eyes as he
Right.
passed.
Right.
I agree with you. Any other final thoughts on the season before we talk about season 2?
Queen Emerald says no, she became David, and then Shadow King escapes.
Okay.
So some people are thinking it's more of a swap. But one of those doesn't terribly matter in the end, except for the only part that I would have cared about of who's who is if when it's David and the Shadow King. But then I like the idea that it was Sid as David, like, I'm gonna fight you now.
Yeah, like I'm here and I have
Yes.
these powers. I'm gonna use them.
That's what I
Right.
kind of was hoping. That's what I
really
thought
like
when
it.
I watched it. But I think both ways you could almost interpret it either way.
Yeah,
But maybe that's part of the directing, that it's maybe almost ambiguous.
I love it. Okay, I think we should put up a spoiler wall just so people don't get angry. Can we hit a spoiler alert?
And now.
Nope, no spoiler alert.
My
for
telekinetic
it.
powers aren't
Wait
working. Hold on,
for
I'm
it.
trying.
The walls are
Wait
really
for it.
thick, though.
I can't do
All
it.
right.
I can't do it.
Too late. Hit it.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Be a nice
great.
long one. 'Cause,
Thank
yeah.
you. So this is what I got from the showrunner from some articles. Questions, because everyone's wondering what's going on with David's parents. We never really got to see
Sure.
the adopted father figure. who was always in shadow. We didn't get to see who the actual father was, aside from the X on his wheelchair. So the showrunner says that any person who learns they're adopted is likely to seek out those parents, or at least look into who they are. So
This is true.
this is true.
I know, because I'm adopted.
We have confirmation that, I mean, it is any person who learns they're adopted, is likely to seek out. So I think
This is true. I've met others who don't care.
yeah. And guest star Jermaine Clement, who plays Oliver, is, quote, rather critical to our story, end quote, in season 2. Quote, I've spoken to Jermaine and he's excited to come back. So I think we'll be seeing a lot of him going forward, end quote.
Sweet.
So he's either going to be special guest star or he's going to be series regular.
Oh, I think he's going to be series regular.
I don't know. I would call
definitely.
but I like calling him a special guest star. I mean, Heather Locklear was a
Maybe
special
somewhere
guest
in
star in
between?
Melrose Place for like the whole time, like 7 years.
Before
so.
we jump into what we think, let's hit the predictions button. There it is.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
My head hurts.
It kind of goes with predictions leading to the parents,
Yeah.
but I like this, not a prediction, but lead into it. Javier Jimenez says, I thought in the memories when we see baby David, we would see parents or something. Right? How convenient. We just see the baby. But you're not looking out. It's a third eye looking at you, essentially, because it's, well, not the third eye, sorry. But it's like he's seeing baby him, but whose perspective is that?
Who's looking?
Because
at
it
the
would have
baby?
been him looking up at somebody, not looking down at him.
I disagree because a lot of the memories are him looking at himself.
This is true.
So I disagree.
He's able to see outside.
No, but they had the foreshadowing, right? Because
Yeah.
the baby didn't have any hair.
I don't know if you've seen babies. I wanted to predict that Jermaine and the Shadow King become our season 2 villains.
All right.
I think I also read, I didn't write this quote down, but that seeing that we saw David really battle himself, have an internal struggle this season, and next season it's going to be him versus like a real admirable foe, like someone who's really worth it for him to fight. And I think we've definitely seen that he now is in much more control of his powers, and once the Shadow King's out, he's like, I feel better.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
The weight's been lifted.
yeah. I don't think we've seen the end of Division 3.
No.
No, not at all.
We're
Do we
going to get Division 3 overload next
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we think we'll move to a new location since they said we're going south, that they will follow them?
Excellent question.
Because that was, Jarvis says, show location is going to move to somewhere warmer, maybe like California or some tropical location.
Absolutely.
Depends where the tax credits are, right?
I'm
Right.
actually pretty sure that I read earlier that they are
Shooting
moving
here.
to.
Yeah, they're shooting
they're
here.
going to shoot in LA. All right. I'm wondering if Sid and David will work out. Because
I hope they do.
I
I want
was-
them to.
They kind of have like a pushing
Wait, why
daisy thing,
wouldn't
though,
they?
right?
I was really. I'm gonna.
They
sound
can hook up
terrible.
in their brains.
I was
Boom.
really hoping that when the Shadow King took over her, it would kill her.
What? No.
Oh, no.
I thought that might happen, and I was like, no,
You know,
you can't.
it's because none of our. It was just very surprising to me that everyone had survived. Right, both Carries.
Oh, like nobody
Patani,
died.
Yeah,
We lost one.
Rudy.
And we lost the eye on the other team. So we've lost 2 characters
Right,
that were
We
important.
lost 2 characters. I'm saying we didn't lose anyone from our core team, and that
Apparently, it was
surprised
that
me.
dangerous of a fight then. That's what that means.
Well, the fact that I thought we would lose a Carrie
Aw.
or Patani. I thought we'd lose Sid or one of the Carries. Mm-hmm. I definitely thought so. It really surprised me that she survived.
Here's my prediction.
Yeah.
It's so clearly I don't think in this next season. It's like you said. There's going to be a journey, but there won't be the reveal of who his dad is
No,
in this
not
next
yet.
season, and maybe not next season, but in season 3, they'll introduce an Asian guy.
Hey.
I'm just kidding.
Watch out.
I'm just kidding.
Why not in season 2?
Yeah, why not season 2?
Because they don't ever do that. It's always like season 3, right? Well,
Expanse, it was 2.
that's true. That's true.
In Grimm, it started with 1.
But I'm just kidding. I'm
did
totally
kind
joking
of-
about that.
Couple
You
people,
want me to keep going? So did Dark Matter.
Yeah.
I got this.
couple people asking in the chat, do we think Division 3 took David?
So that was my next question. Thank you, chat. I believe that the guy from Colony, that's what it looks like. Those guys from Colony came in and took David to Division 3.
Yes.
Who else would it have been? It has to be either Division 3 or something else completely.
Which would be a whole other...
Yeah, like a third.
But that'd be kind of interesting, but more complicated.
Because that's what the show needs. You know, it's too simple.
You know, sure.
Right?
Sarcasm, everyone.
I like that a few people are still debating if Sid's real or not.
Yeah, I'll tell you what really disappointed me.
Oh, someone agrees kind of with you, Serenity. I don't like Sid, so she can go anytime.
Oh my goodness!
No,
wow.
me and Chaos love Rachel Keller.
I never said I didn't like her. I just said it surprised me.
And a
that she
couple of
didn't
you
die.
are like with me, and I think you're on the same page, and you too, of, no, they need to be together.
Yes.
Oh no, that's not actually the case.
They-
I just
You're
thought-
like,
I just
no,
thought that-
fine. The middle of the table is like,
Thank you. They
David
need
and
to
Sid.
They need to be together, and they
Yes.
need to make some awesome mutant babies all day.
to beat up Clark's baby.
Boom.
His kid is like big enough to take on a baby.
Yeah.
To be honest, mutant or not, he's big enough to.
He is.
He can take
He
it.
can help. He can handle himself.
Raymond in the chat goes, Sid is good. I'm happy she made it.
Boom.
All right. I think
That's true. You didn't want her to
Wait, Chaos, you have
die.
any predictions? Wait, Chaos,
No,
you have a
I was
prediction,
gonna
right?
say, can Chaos get a prediction?
go.
I can't get a
Yes.
word in edgewise.
Do it.
Goodness gracious. Okay, so my prediction.
So we're out of time. Kids. Go on.
I would like to thank our guest, Matt Damon.
Yeah, I'm still in the green room. Okay, no, I think that we're gonna see David get even more powerful. We're gonna see him harness his powers even more beyond what we can possibly imagine, so to speak. And it sounds kind of cliche, but like I feel like they're gonna give us something that we didn't see coming when it comes to him, you know, actually really mastering his powers. We're gonna be like, oh wow, like I didn't see that one coming. But then I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of trouble Oliver is going to get into now that he's back in the physical world.
Yeah.
Right.
I like it.
A couple
That's
people.
it though. That's everybody else.
Sid could die. I'm kidding.
I like the idea that a couple of people are saying that maybe David would absorb Sid eventually, and then she would be with him always, which is not quite what I'm looking for, but that's an interesting theory.
Well, so that's one of my biggest issues. I guess because it's season 1, he's still to figure out what his powers are. We've kind of left the idea because his powers, part of them is that he can absorb other people, but also that he can make these separate people, and these separate people have their own powers. And when we started the season, first we weren't sure what was reality and what wasn't, but
Yep.
second we weren't sure who was real and who wasn't. And I worry that we've ended season 1 and we've settled in and went, okay, all these people are real, because I really would love it if it turns out that like most of them aren't. And just in an interesting way that like they're either in his head.
The problem is like that pony's been played. I don't like that trick pony.
But the
Surprise!
In
I don't like that pony. either.
in shows.
F that pony in the
But
face.
but a lot of people in the chat
face.
are complaining how the show hasn't really made him Legion in terms of he needs
Right.
more. So maybe that will be where season 2 is going to go.
Sure.
He'll be acquiring those people.
Right. I mean, it is an origin story, and we're
Yes.
still at the way beginning.
This is
of
the
it,
beginning, guys.
which I think is hard to remember when we're at the end of season 1,
Yeah.
and so far we know he's telepathic and telekinetic, and not all of the other cool stuff he can do.
Right. A couple people are saying maybe we'll get our Patrick Stewart next episode. Next season.
No, I'm telling you, give it a couple of seasons. I would love to see that. Not next season. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, no.
I'm
it's
calling it
definitely
right
not gonna
now.
happen. I agree.
Oh,
I think we're more likely to see his adoptive father next season.
Right.
than we are
Right.
to see his
Yeah.
biological.
Very possible. Sorry, I just got it. Lawn Boomer says, I don't know if we're going to see personalities per se and that different powers are going to be substituted. Said personalities, I hope not. Instead of just, it'll be personalities and instead of like people. Maybe. That's a good question.
I don't know. I really hope, though, they don't forget about all the other stuff he can do.
Do we think it'll be similar to the comics or not, too?
I know that they're trying to keep it separate enough that we're not able to go, that's clearly this. You mean like Shadow King? But like, I think that they're trying to do something different, and I think that they have also tried to introduce all these different characters. So there's a good chance that as much as I'm going, who's Clark supposed to be? There's a real like good chance that he is a completely new character that is not anywhere. So do I think they'll stick to the comics? Probably not. Do I think they'll try to be very respectful to them? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they have been so far. Yeah.
Like most comic books to shows or movies, there'll be some, and then there's going to be a lot that they'll change.
Yeah. I absolutely love this show. I love doing it with the three of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everyone who's been here all season, everyone in the live chat, everyone who stays up till super late. We get it. It's been a long day. Thank you so much. Until next season, why don't you tell people where they can find you online and what other shows you're doing here at AfterBuzz? Take it away, Rick.
You guys can find me on all social media at Rick Hong, RICKHONG. I do The Expanse with Carrie. I'll be doing Better Call Saul when it debuts, and wrapping up Homeland here pretty quick. And that's it, I think.
All right, Carrie.
Sweet. Yes, you guys can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's KARIDLANE. I was going to say Time After Time, but we're kind of canceled. But we're going to still have a show on Monday, I think. Box office breakdown on Sundays, where we talk about what movies came out over the weekend. And then Wednesday's The Magicians, and Thursday's The Expanse. And starting in a few weeks is going to be Handmaid's Tale. Not sure what day yet.
Ooh.
I'll be at WonderCon this weekend, so follow me on Twitter and Instagram for updates on that. And again, shout out to Espionage Cosmetics. And if you guys want like nerdy nail wraps, I mean, I know we have some male viewers, which you can have them as well. And there's makeup and gift to your female friends who like that stuff.
Boom. Okay,
Your
was I
name?
supposed to introduce myself?
Yeah, what's your
Yeah, a
name?
little bit.
I was thinking about that. Okay, so Chaos J, KWOSJ on Twitter. Instagram, you should already know by now. Chaos_Oceans31. Oceans, why? Because your boy's so wavy.
Oh,
now,
I thought 31
you can
Facebook
find me on Black Hollywood Live, Dating, Mating, Communicating, the DMC. Tomorrow, on Thursday, I've got Catfish. With AfterBuzz, and then next month I'll be starting Netflix The Get Down,
Woo!
Oh, cool.
the second part.
Nice. Thank you, everyone. I'm Yael Tygiel. I'm everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. This weekend, I'm at WonderCon as well with Carrie. Please tweet at me, and if you are there, you best come say hello.
You best come say hi.
Thank you. Also, on after shows here, Grimm, we have one more episode left. Switch to Birth, we have 2 more episodes left. And SVU tomorrow. Also, Gay Weekly Roundtable, also Thursdays, earlier in the afternoon. I think that's it. I'm taking back less shows. Life's hard.
Yeah.
Life's hard. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.